Good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. I'm so excited to be able to be with you today and take you down a little bit of learning journey that I have undergone this week of things that have really broadened my perspective about what we have here at Actives. I want to talk to you first about being in an infinite versus a finite mindset. So many people come into a business like this with a finite mindset. They're thinking, okay, I'm going to try the product for 30 days. And then half the time they don't even take the product every day. And at the end of that, they say, oh, this didn't work, or this or that. Or they say, I'm going to make the 90-day run and I'm going to hit the 500 club. And then if they fall a little short, they fall kind of back out of activity. And that's finite thinking. It's win or lose. Finite thinking is being frustrated if someone across from you hits a rank before you do. It's not a game like that. There's not winners and losers if you're in an infinite game. A finite game there is. If you're playing chess, it's a specific amount of players, it's a specific amount of rules, and there's an end of the game. There is an end point, and there is a winner and a loser. But in business, like in family, like in life, there is no winner or loser in business. It's just business. It's constantly trying to get better. It's constantly trying to get bigger. It's that infinite mindset of we're in this for life. Actives is going to change my life for life. And I want to be able to grow in Actives forever, not just to A16, but get to the top and then bring as many to the top over the rest of my life as I can. That's infinite thinking. Some of you have heard me talk about wanting to help 1,000 people. That's finite. I probably won't be talking about that anymore if I can help myself, because I don't want to just stop at that. If we're in this for life, why not help as many as we can? Why not open that just up wide and help as many people as we can? So that's finite thinking. Don't be frustrated if somebody hits a rank ahead of you, because it's not a contest. It's about them growing and you growing. So learn from their strengths and improve on your weaknesses and become better. That's what infinite is constantly becoming better, one day after another, after another. The next thing I want to talk to you about is being 98% in versus 100% in versus being 5 or 10% in. A lot of people I'm finding are just 5 or 10% in. They get an auto ship most months. If they don't get an auto ship, they might not even miss it. They might not realize if their credit card doesn't run. They're just playing Actives, but they're not necessarily involved. They're not telling anybody. They're not involving people to become customers or to become business partners. They're just kind of there. They jump on some Zooms. They're sort of kind of involved, but it's more of a detail. If nothing else is going on in their life, then they'll plug in, then they'll do, right? So that's the 5 to 10% mindset. The 98% mindset is they're involved. They're on the calls, they're learning, they're talking to a few people, but it's a constant battle when something comes up. I want to go to that event, but it's my daughter's birthday. I want to go be a part of that team meeting, but it's my anniversary. We've run into this almost our entire marriage, because we've been in this industry almost our entire marriage. And I think I can count on one hand the amount of anniversaries I've had with Eric that I haven't been at an event. Because for us, it's not a thought process. When you have the 100% thought process, you don't have to have that mental tug of war of, am I going to do this or am I going to do this? No, we go to the event and then we might stay an extra day and take an anniversary day. Or maybe we don't, because we're busy getting back into meetings and we just count that day at the event as our anniversary. And we'll try and catch them in at a dinner or somewhere along the way, or we'll just tell each other happy anniversary and laugh and go on, because we know that we're all in with our future with this industry. And we know that anniversary is just a day. And as long as you recognize it or celebrate it somewhere along the way, it counts. We were at an event not too long ago that fell over our grandson's second birthday, and he's now old enough to realize whether Mima and Papa are there or not. So it was kind of a big deal for him that he was going to miss the party. For us, it was a no-brainer. We didn't have to think about it. We didn't have to have that tug of war, because we were going to the event. We made arrangements to go see him on a different day, and it actually worked out better because our present was not one of among a pile that he got. It was the only present that day, and he was so excited. And we actually got down on the ground and opened it up and played with it with him and had that special time. So it wasn't a negative that we missed it, and it wasn't a thought process of whether to miss it to go to the event. We went to the event, we celebrated the birthday a different day. Now there will be things in your life, if it's a junior world series of this or that and they're going, you might have to make that a priority because that's a once in a lifetime thing. If it's your child's wedding, yeah, you need to be there. There are things in your life that are not replaceable that need to happen, but on those, that shouldn't be a tug of war either, right? It shouldn't be a tug of war. But if you're finding yourself having a tug of war, this or this, figure out where your higher percentage lies right at that moment and figure out what it is that you want to do. And if it's something that you can replace or do a different day, build your business. Because if you'll just focus on actives for a little bit, it will become a blessing for your life for not only now and today, but forever and for generations to come. So what you're doing really is important. We've told our family, this is our job. Okay, we use that term loosely because we don't have hours, we don't have a boss. It's the funnest kind of job because we're in control, but we treat it as a job so that they will respect it as a job. So they don't feel like we're making excuses of why we can't be at things. We have a job, and it might take us out of town on a road trip. It might take us to an event. It might mean that we have a training in the morning and we're missing part of the Little League, but we're going to run down and catch part of it, or we're going to have it in an earbud and listening while they're playing. And it's something that we're just going to be part of because we're all in, we're 100% in. So 100% versus 98 takes out the thought struggle. The example that they used on the example that I was learning from was someone who was trying to give up sugar. And the woman actually decided, I'm going to give up sugar for 30 days. And I related with this because I've done it. But I also know how I felt on day 29, how excited I was for day 30 when it was going to be done. And then I could go have all of these things that I'd been putting off and putting back. And it kind of defeated the benefits. Like, yeah, I reset my metabolism and things were going great. I lost some weight. I looked toned. The cellulite started to go away and right back again, right? I went back onto sugar and it just came right back again. And one of her friends looked at her and said, what are your goals? Why are you going off sugar for 30 days? And she said, well, I want to look better. I want to age better. I want to have better skin as I age. I want to have less cellulite when I go to the pool. I want all these things. And her friend said, well, then why not make an all-in decision? And why not just give it up forever? And then you don't have to struggle. And it became so easy because as she would go to a birthday party and they would have birthday cake, she would just choose to have the fruit. If she went to a restaurant and they offered the dessert, she would just politely decline. If she went places where it was her favorite this or that, she didn't have that mental struggle of, oh, just this once, or maybe just a little, because she was off sugar. And so it made that definitive thought process. Anytime that we can limit some of those 6,000 thoughts that are running through our head on a normal day, it's going to help create less chaos going on inside of our head. And we're going to be able to be more focused towards the things that really matter. So we're coming into a weekend right now. My suggestion is plan your week, plan your meetings for next week, set your schedule, do your job, right? So that when Tuesday comes and it's your friend's birthday and you forgot, and you wake up Tuesday morning and you get the alert and you realize, oh, it's her birthday, we can call her and say, hey, happy birthday. I really want to spend time with you today, but I've got meetings at 9 and 11. How about a late lunch? Can I pick you up about 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock, and let's go do a lunch then? But you've already got your meetings worked in. You've made actives a priority in your life, and you're still working in the important things, but then they're working in around a definite plan towards building actives. Otherwise, it becomes a struggle, a tug of war, a 98%er, or even a 5%er of, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. And it doesn't ever happen. So please, if you want to build this business, make it 100% all in for enough time that you can build this. And for us, it's infinite. And we're not going to make it 100% priority over everything in our life, There will come a time at which it will probably switch just a little bit, will be 98%. But at that point, it's still not that struggle, because we'll know that if we have 16 leaders underneath us that have it, that we can make an appearance, or we can even just let them handle that particular event. If we've got something big going on with the family or with this or that, then you can kind of step back and let your 100 to 98% switch a little bit. But for us, it's all in. We are willing to do whatever it takes to build actives for as long as it takes to get the leadership, to get the foundation, to get the US market to where it needs to be growing and becoming better every single day. And we continue to build actives for the rest of our life. It changes the mindset. It's no longer a race to A16. It's how many people can we get free? How many people can we get to the top? How many lives can we bless and change because of this amazing business and amazing products? Okay, I want to end with a story of a man named Tom. Tom was a man who was about 400 pounds, and it was affecting his whole life. It was affecting his self-image. It was affecting his confidence. It was affecting the activities that he could do. It was affecting his marriage. In fact, he'd just gone through a divorce, and his brother was very, very worried about Tom. He knew not only all of that, but he knew what effect it was having on Tom's health and Tom's lifespan. So his brother invited him to go with him to a conference. It was a Tony Robbins type or a Bob Proctor type conference. And they went, and Tom's brother is all in, and he's excited and he's motivated, and Tom's just like not having anything of it. He's like, I'm not drinking this Kool-Aid. I'm not buying this. That's not right. And that's not who I am. And I am not that. And he's just kind of fighting everything that's being said. But after about 8 hours, something broke through with Tom. And Tom looked at his brother and said, do you think we could buy some of the tapes at the back of the room? Back in the day when cassette tapes were the thing. And Tom's brother said, absolutely. Now, he knew Tom didn't have any money, but he was willing to invest in Tom because he loved his brother and he wanted to help him get up to a different place. So he bought some tapes, gave them to Tom. And Tom went home after that event and started to do something very, very special. He started to immerse himself in the information. It was 5 hours the first day and then 7 hours the second day. And he was just immersing himself in this new thought process. After about a week, Tom went down to a local tailor shop and bought 2 brand new suits. Now remember, Tom didn't have any money, so he had to buy them over time, had to buy them on credit, but he had to put down a down payment. And he scraped together everything he had left basically in life, put down on these 2 suits. And then he did another thing that was very peculiar and very unusual for Tom, or really for any of us. He asked one of the very fit workers there in the store to be the model for the tailoring for those suits. And everybody in the store thought Tom was crazy. They thought he'd lost his mind. Here he's spending money he doesn't even have on suits that he can't wear because they're tailored for somebody half his size, if that. And Tom did it. And he kept telling him, this is the man I'm going to be. This is the man I'm going to be. This is what I want. I want these suits tailored. And he took them home and hung them in his closet. And every day he looked at those suits and got excited for the day he could wear those suits. Now, he knew that he was going to have those suits, and it was changing his thought process, the tapes, the investing him in himself, the telling a new story. He was no longer stuck telling the story that he had been telling almost his whole life of victim mentality. And this is what happened to me. And this is how I got here. And this is justifying, right? This is why I am the way I am. And this is how it happened. And just retelling that story over and over gave him more of what he had. Now he's telling a different story. I have these new suits. This is the size I'm going to be. Aren't they great? And he'd hold them up, and they'd be half of him. And he was so excited, and it became infectious to the people around him that they were cheering him on and they were excited for the new Tom. Well, Tom's standing in the grocery store aisle about 30 days later, and he's picking up some food, and a little girl walks down the aisle with her mom. And little kids say it as it is. They're kind of brutally honest sometimes. And she poked her mom and she goes, Mommy, look at that fat man. And Tom turned around and looked behind him to see who she was talking about. And when he realized nobody was there, he started to laugh. And he laughed and he laughed and he laughed because he knew something she didn't know. He wasn't a fat man. He was a thin man that fit those suits. And he knew that that day was coming. And he knew without a doubt that day that his mindset had changed enough that he could be successful, because it wasn't just a thought process anymore. He literally turned around and looked to see who that little girl was talking about, because it couldn't have been him, because he wasn't a fat man anymore. So that being said, what can we pull from that story? What did he do? He immersed himself in information that would help him change his mindset. He invested in himself and in his future self. He invested in the man that he wanted to be, not the man that he was. He started telling a different story, telling a story of the man he would be, not the man he had been. No longer justifying his situation, but talking about the situation and the circumstances he was changing to, telling a different story. He built his belief on the future, and it literally made it possible. If you fast forward in Tom's story, when this was told, he had literally lost 175 pounds. He had started a business. It was doing very well. He was creating abundance and success. He was dating a beautiful woman. He had confidence and poise and self-esteem, and he was almost into those suits. So what is it that you want to change in your life? Are you doing the right steps? Are you changing the story? Are you literally putting yourself into that place so that you believe it? And whether the people around you believe it or not becomes irrelevant. Whether the people in the store are laughing at your vision, whether the little girl is still calling it as it was or is in her eyes, guys, what is old news. What is just a manifestation of what we proclaimed before. It's not anything to do with where we're going. So stop championing the what is in your circumstances. Stop telling everybody about the current circumstances in your life, because all you're doing is creating more of the same in the future. Change the mindset. Invest in yourself that you will be, and it doesn't have to be clothes. It can be investing in an event. It can be investing in going to an active something, because active leaders go to events. Active leaders show up for the leadership events. They go to the special things. And guys, life is about the dash between the dates. It really is. If you go to a cemetery and you see a birth date and a dash and maybe no death date, they're still in their dash. But even if there's a death date, the thing that matters is the dash. What happened between their birth and their death? What are you doing for your dash? I look at life as a journey. Our son ran cross country. And at any given time, he had this gift where he could just turn it on. He'd be running and he could turn it up to a sprint and get ahead of a group, get ahead towards the end, make that big push. And he just had that ability to just turn it on. Well, you have that ability to turn on the dash in your life anytime that you want. And those dashes are the things that count. Whether that dash is a special event with people that you love and care about, whether that dash is a run for the 500 Club, whether that dash is a run to a 6 or a 10 or a 12 or even a 16. Those dashes are the things that you'll remember. Those dashes are the things that you will literally look back on in your life, and that will be what mattered between your birth and your death. So be creating the dashes, be creating those little finite goals on the infinite big scheme of things, and go and make actives a part of changing your life. Actives is just a vehicle, but it's a vehicle that literally can change your mindset, can change your outlook, can change the way that you look, can change your health, can change your wealth, can change your confidence, can change your ability to speak to others and listen to others, can change the people who are in your life, can change the relationships that you live. This is an infinite game. There is no end to actives. It will just continue to grow and grow. Set your finite goals within it, play the game, and have an infinite life. Let actives be a part that makes it better and better. Thanks for being with us here today. We're going to wrap this up. Go set your goals for next week and have a wonderful weekend.